Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. Your host, Tyler Smith, here. If this is your first video that you're watching on my channel, a little bit of background on what I do on this channel specifically is I mostly share esoteric information about ceremonial magic, information about Freemasonry. We cover all kinds of topics on here. We talk about the Golden Dawn. We even get into I've gotten into starseed stuff a little bit way in the past, been covering more left-hand path stuff recently. So just a wide variety of different esoteric influences, just trying to get the information out there, educate people on this stuff. Like I've said before, I'm not any kind of guru or anything like that. While I am an individual practitioner, I am not a professional in any sense of the word. So all of the information that you learn from this channel, you should be going out and studying other YouTube channels. You should be buying books, getting books of all kinds, and adding to your repertoire, adding to your arcana of knowledge, and then most importantly, being able to put that into practical use. Whatever your tradition is, whatever your background is. On this channel, I just give you kind of my perspectives, from the influences that I've had in my life and from my own individual practices, just some of my insights. So that's mostly what this channel is about. It's mostly sharing information. And then maybe later on, when I start taking some of my practices a little bit more seriously, get a few more subscribers on here, we can do a Patreon. I would like to do that at some point, but that time has not come yet. So we're just going to keep going over different topics. Today we are going to cover Ein, A-I-N, in the Kabbalah, on the Tree of Life. It is the outermost veil on the Tree of Life. I grabbed a whole bunch of books today, but I did not grab my chart, but that's okay because I think we will have some illustrations to work with. Now this book I was talking a little bit about in the last video. And I'm not going to read a whole lot more from it, like I said. I want people to go out and buy this book. I want people to support the author. This is really good knowledge. This is good information to have, especially if you veer towards the left-hand path. This is invaluable. Super interesting information. I have nothing but the highest respect for those who are a part of this. It's composed by one author, but there's writings from different adepts within this group. Temple of Flame, I believe that's what it's called. Temple of Ascending Flame is what it's called. And the last video, I went over the first part of the Dark Tower, which is the pentagram ritual of the Dark Tower. Now I'm going to go ahead and read real quick. I know there was a subscriber who wanted to hear this, so this is the Qliphothic Middle Pillar exercise, and I'm just going to read through this real quick before we get into the subject of the Ein. Once you have performed the pentagram ritual of the Dark Tower, so go and watch my last video, the Dark Tower, if you have not watched that yet. Once you have performed the pentagram ritual of the Dark Tower a few times and feel comfortable with it and the dark energies it provokes, you may wish to take a step further into the manifestation of Qliphothic energy. The following ritual is in essence a Qliphothic Middle Pillar exercise, and its incorporation into the pentagram ritual forms the complete Dark Tower. It may also be used on its own to raise Qliphothic energy at any time. After the pentagrams have been invoked and the practitioner is facing west in step 13, instead of proceeding to the second Qliphothic cross, perform the following ritual. If you need to know what step 13 was in the last, this is step 13. So this would be west in step 13. So step 13 would have started here. Trace the fourth line of the circle terminating in the back in the west. At this point, you must decide if you wish to proceed with steps 14 through 18 or repeat the Qliphothic cross exercise in steps 1 through 5 before you move on. So that's kind of where there's the split right there, just to give you a frame of reference back to the pentagram, the Qliphothic. pentagram ritual. So after the pentagrams have been invoked and the practitioner is facing west, in step 13, instead of proceeding to the second Qliphothic cross, as we just mentioned, perform the following ritual. Take a few deep breaths. You may wish to perform Qliphothic breathing at this point, i.e. imagining you are subtly exhaling while physically inhaling and vice versa. When ready, begin to contemplate the darkly burning sphere immediately above your crown. In a hissing whisper, vibrate Hey. Imagine the light becoming more and more brilliant as you vibrate the name. You may wish to vibrate the name a few times if needed. Next, take a deep breath and sense the light moving down to your throat level. As we know, in the normal middle pillar, you would vibrate Alexarpe Komananu Tabe Towem would be the angelic name, and it would be Yod-He Vav-He Elohim for the middle pillar. And this, it's Koranzon. So next, take a deep breath and sense the light moving down to your throat level. Koranzon. The light pulses into a lavender hue as you vibrate the name as many times as you wish. Continue to breathe deeply and rhythmically. When you are ready, pull the lavender light down to the level of your solar plexus. Visualize the light begin pulsing into a golden color. Continue to breathe deeply and regularly. When you feel the time is right, vibrate Belphegor. Belphegor? I'm not sure the correct pronunciation on that. Belphegor. Repeat the name as desired until you perceive the pulsing energies flowing from sphere to sphere, creating a warm radiation emerging from within. When ready, draw the light down into the groin area. Continue breathing as you visualize the light transforming into a rich violet color. Vibrate Lilith as many times as desired. Continue with deep and regular breathing. Next, pull the shaft of light down to your feet. Perceive the light becoming darker and darker until it pulses with an otherworldly blackness. Imagine the black sphere as having intense gravity and gaping like an abyss. Continue breathing until you can imagine the black sphere to be actually radiating an intense black light into the universe, and then vibrate Nama as many times as you desire. So Lilith corresponding with Archangel Gabriel in the Tree of Life, and Nama corresponding with, of course, Sandalphon. Continue breathing and sensing the pulsing dark energy rising and descending through the column of spheres within you. Visualize each sphere as distinct, but pulsing into the column, connected through the light flowing from each to each. Feel the energy moving through your body, pulsing from the black sphere at your feet and moving upward, cascading through each sphere until it bursts from your crown and flows around your body, which begins to pulse with an intense dark light. When ready, you may proceed with a Qliphothic or Sephirotic cross in step 14 above, which we covered in the last video. So if you need to know how to do that, go back to the last video. And that is the Qliphothic Middle Pillar summed up really quick. So as you can see, it corresponds, right up with the, it's the antipole to the middle pillar. The same color correspondences, etc. So let's get back to the Ein. So this Ein, it's the outermost layer above the Tree of Life. I think there's a normal Tree of Life picture in here somewhere. I know they have a Qliphothic one in the beginning. Here we go. So here's the Tree of Life. And then you have 3 rings above Kether, which is referred to as the Empyrean Heaven. If you read Dante's Paradiso, he actually goes in, depth in that book, kind of explaining in literary terms, what he went through in those journeys. So the outermost layer is Ein, which is the no thing, which is considered a void, but in essence, it's like as physics explains to us, in the negative matter, or what we perceive as empty space, there is actually more potential energy there that within those spaces sometimes that exists in all the manifested universe. So we should think of the Ein as all potentiality. And there have been times when I have, ascended through the tree in my meditations, working through the Kabbalistic cross and then performing the LVRP. The closest visualization I can get to what the Ein looks like is this, and it's kind of not really glowing the best on the camera's having trouble picking it up. But as you can see, it's this bright white orb, and there's just this fluidic, like plasma, you know, light radiating off the sphere. That's like the closest imagery I've been able to find to what, you know, I've visualized the Ein as. And when you're pulling from this energy, it's important to remember that this is all potentiality. So all the manifested universe, every aspect of creation that has thus been created is only but a small particle of this pool of energy, you know, that's coming from Ein. Just one little speck of this energy, you know, is enough to create all of these worlds. And the Ein is also the part of the God, which is beyond really the Godhead itself, if you want to refer to it in such terms, that it really exists like outside of creation. So it's independent. It is, in essence, ultimately the immovable mover. I'm going to go ahead and read to you from my book that I've been working on, and I need to go back and edit this section that I was writing. I basically do an overview of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, and then I write a small section about the 3 levels of the Empyrean Heaven, the Ein Sof, and the Ein Sof Or. So let me go ahead and show you what I've written for the Ein, and this may help you get, you know, a better understanding of it as well. And then we'll go ahead and jump into some books that kind of go into it way more in depth. And that's what I would kind of like to incorporate into my book as well, because I have a deeper understanding now of what the Ein is, even more than I did, you know, just a few months ago. My learning has been exponential, so it makes sense that I'm going to have to incorporate, you know, this new information that I'm taking into the work. So here we go. Ein. You have the Empyrean Heaven, and this is the outermost layer. The first 3 layers of existence above the Tree of Life are collectively known as the Empyrean Heaven. This consists of the Ein Sof, and Ein Sof Or. The first layer, called Ein, is commonly understood as the no thing or void. This is slightly misleading. This is, quote, God, the creator or primordial chaos, darkness itself, which is totally immutable and unchangeable. It exists outside of the sphere of creation altogether, as something which cannot be comprehended by any but the most holy and high adepts. Even then, it can only be perceived as darkness, because it is at a level of creation we can hardly conceive of. It is rather difficult, if not impossible, to imagine no thing, for there has always been some thing to us. And I also wrote only the highest adepts of light. And of course, we know that's not true. There's different ways to go about this. Really, there's only one path. Whether you call it the right or the left-hand path, there is no really right or wrong way. There's different ways to approach this Ein energy, this primordial energy. And as we know, there's different paths on the Tree of Life. Now that we understand there's a universe B, there's a Qliphothic realm, there's a lot more going on to this. But this Ein exists outside of all that, and that's something that can be reached, through various states of meditation. And to actually achieve that, though, to actually get there to that, to be in the presence of that, not in our physical forms. We're not going to be able to fully, where we're at now, comprehend the total divine mysteries of the Ein. So if you will excuse me for just a moment, I think I heard the little one crying. I'm going to go check on him. Play with the guitar? All right, the baby has awoken, so I'm probably gonna have to cut this video short. Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video short, but if I get time, I will do another video. Sorry that we only got into the ayin just slightly, but we will cover more of this. I have a lot to say about this topic. We're gonna get into various books and such. Can I read the rest of this, baby? Huh? Can I read the rest? Dad. Oh. Yeah, but for now, everyone, thank you for watching. Peace and love. I will get you more material when I can, hopefully sooner rather than later. But for now, take care, everyone. Peace and love.